Hi folks, and welcome to another episode of Outside the Ropes. I am your host. Well,
he thinks.
We keep arguing this every week. We're co-hosts really, but we really are the host. Welcome to the show again, folks. I'm Matthew Muir, joined alongside my co-host, Mr. Tommy McNulty. Good evening, Tommy, and welcome back for another week of wonderful world of professional wrestling. How are you this week?
Fantastic as always.
I see you're looking quite casual this week.
I decided I'm impressive enough. Why should I have to dress to impress?
Yeah, so he normally wears just like a shirt or a pair of trousers, or he tries.
I always wear trousers.
He pretty much tries to have the corporate look, but it doesn't seem to work out for him.
when you have it all.
Well, I'm saying no more about that. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Outside the Ropes. We're here to talk about the last 7 days in the world of professional wrestling since our last week's show, right here on Bangor Community Radio. Also to our people who are viewing us right here on YouTube, and also now we're on the world of Daily Motion as well. We have another platform. Yes, we are on the world of Daily Motion as well. So Daily Motion viewers out there, how are you today? I hope you're doing well, and this will be the second episode that we've uploaded onto the world of Daily Motion. But most importantly, we're here for Bangor Community Radio as well, 107.9 FM. Now, the way to get in touch with us here at Outside the Ropes, which a lot of them have been doing this past week, as usual. Our Facebook page and all been going mad this week again as well. Best way to do that is to check out our website, which is on the bottom of the screen for people watching on YouTube, is www.outsidetheropes.tk. The other side, Tommy. Also on our Facebook page, which this man here runs alongside our rest of our producers here. Which you want to give out, Tommy?
Yeah, just search Outside the Ropes Wrestling Talk Show in brackets. Search that in the Facebook bar. Yep,
and also on the world of Twitter, if you want to search Outside the Rope, no S on the end, just Outside the Rope. So you want to get in touch with us for future episodes down the line, or you want to get any questions or views on like shows you've been to, or like last night's Elimination Chamber, which we're going to talk about shortly. Get in touch with us on our social media feeds. Also, don't forget our wonderful people here at Bangor Community Radio, which are been more than generous to us. Just search on Facebook, Bangor Community Radio, and on Twitter at Bangor 1079 FM. No website for those boys just yet, but they're getting there. And if you want to email us, which we have never given an email address out, which we have one now, which you want to give that out?
It's outsidetheropes@yahoo.com.
That's correct. So if you want to email us, get in touch with us, certainly way you can do it. Now, tonight's show, we're going to be talking about last night's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, alongside the last 7 days of the world of professional wrestling. Last night's Chamber, which you look very tired today, Tommy, from sitting up late last night watching it.
Very tired.
Very tired today, yeah. So you'll be very quiet today, which will be great for our viewers.
A little bit depressed.
No comment. We'll start off with last week's Monday Night Raw, which, before the show, you're not on tout, but we're on tout, by the way. If you want to tout us, Outside the Ropes.
Just don't tout on us.
Of course. We saw a tout from Paul Heyman saying that he's going to make an announcement which was going to be groundbreaking, and he was going to start the show off. So out comes Paul Heyman to make this.
Was a pretty surprising announcement, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. He said he was going to pack it in. He was going to resign from the WWE, and he was going to leave. And out comes one of your favourite wrestlers, hence why you're sporting the trendy look today. Well, partially the trendy look with the shirt and stuff.
I'm going CM Punk McFoley.
There you go. Free listeners on Bangor Community Radio. He's actually wearing a checkered shirt, well, a flannel type shirt, and he's wearing a CM Punk hoodie. Well, not a CM Punk hoodie, but it's a hoodie. So anyway, back to wrestling. Yep. Out comes CM Punk trying to talk him into it, and he does talk him into it to staying. So
eventually.
Yep. Definitely. He decides to stay, and onwards we go to the rest of the show. So everybody keeps promoting throughout the night that The Rock's going to be coming back to address CM Punk, and The Rock, where should we start with him?
Mr. Hollywood?
Mr. Hollywood. Anyway, in other matches this week, Tommy, I've been talking quite a lot here, so I'm going to give the stage to you, the platform to you, if you want to let the folks know who missed last Monday Night Raw, what exactly happened.
Yeah, the opening match of Monday Night Raw was, well, left much to be desired. It was Mark Henry and the Great Khali.
Great, Mark Henry's back in the mix again, which is great to see.
Great Khali's bad as always.
Nightmare. Last week's show, before we go on, we didn't address SmackDown because this guy didn't review it. There was an incident on SmackDown which was quite funny actually with the Big Show and Alberto Del Rio when he took off his wheels of his big bus.
Eddie Guerrero style.
Yeah, of course, and then poured this big tub of orange goo over the top of him. Check it out on YouTube. It's actually quite funny. Which I still apologise about last week's show. But anyway, go on ahead.
Okay.
Mr. Raw results.
Not much more to talk about. Mark Henry and Great Khali. Terrible match as always. Chris Jericho also fought Daniel Bryan. And defeated Daniel Bryan to qualify for Sunday's Elimination Chamber match.
Well, last night's chamber match.
Yeah.
Because it is Monday. Go on. There wasn't really much more on Raw that really stood out for me this week because we're trying to squeeze everything into tonight's show.
So we'll give you quick results. Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus defeated 3MB, Heath Slater, Drew McIntyre, and Jinder Mahal.
Yep, 3MB, great band.
If you remember 3 Count from WCW, that says it all.
Yeah, no problem. He's reading the result of his laptop because he didn't watch it.
I did watch it. I just have a mind like a sieve.
Yeah, because you've been up all night watching pay-per-views.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Big Show will also come out for a segment, and
yep, didn't really speak much.
He didn't talk at all.
Knocked out Matt Striker.
Yeah, knocked out Matt Striker because he was still recovering from the embarrassment he suffered on SmackDown from Alberto Del Rio.
Yep.
Also,
well, Senator, the Shield called out. Should we say the superheroes? Should we call them Sheamus, Super Cena, and what is it you call them?
Ryback, go back, Ryback, whatever suits.
And that they cleared the ring, pretty much. Yeah.
And also, Jack Swagger was in a match with Zack Ryder.
And we forgot whenever he forgot to put talk about the SmackDown results last week, we had a big return. Jack Swagger's new manager.
Yep, you'll remember him as Dirty Dutch Mantell in the NWA. You'll remember him as Uncle Zebekiah, the manager of Jacob and Eli Blue, and of course, a very young Bradshaw.
And his name at the time was Bradshaw, yep. With the bull rope and
It was Uncle Zebekiah.
Yep, he made a return. He's now Jack Swagger's manager. They've actually been appearing on
Coulter.
Yeah, they've been appearing on YouTube, and they were appearing on Tout, and over the last lot of days since he came back to the WWE, or he almost said WWF.
Well, it is still WWF to real wrestling fans.
Exactly, which we had a tweet about this week from our friend from the former time we were in the business, Mr. Render. He tweeted in this week saying about the old...
the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, but older
time,
fans.
Obviously.
Of course.
But we got to review today's stuff for today's wrestling fans.
Exactly. So, if you don't like what we say,
don't watch.
And our opinions
are our own.
Exactly. Hashtag.
Or my own.
Or his
anyway.
own. Whatever he says.
The Miz also defeated Cody Rhodes on Raw.
That is correct. The Miz is starting to pick up again towards the United States title match, which he had with Antonio
Cesaro.
I can't even speak today.
Claudio Castagnoli from Ring of Honor, of course.
Exactly. But this week's Raw, I mean, The Rock came out at the end. Pretty much mouthed off. Out comes down CM Punk. And then The Rock was like, you want to grow a set between your legs, come into the ring. So Punk jumped in the ring, had a bit of a brawl. Heyman got a wee bit of scuffle in there as well. And then it came down to where the Punk hit him with a GTS, and he stole the title.
Correct. He stole
the title from him, and left with the title, which then he came out last night at the pay-per-view with. But we'll go on more with that anyway in a few moments' time.
One of my favourite moments was 1997 when The Rock had defeated Stone Cold for the Intercontinental title. Or, sorry, Stone Cold had handed it to The Rock.
Because he ate bigger things to fry, he said.
But then he stunnered him and took the belt anyway.
And chucked it in the lake.
Yep.
So, pretty much good fun. What we're going to do, we're trying to squeeze everything into today's show, so if we didn't cover anything that you like this week, we do apologise. Cause we've had a few people saying we're more pro WWE than TNA, but we are going to talk about TNA this week. Again,
don't like what we say.
Don't like the show. Bye-bye. Exactly. That's what we say here. Oh, sorry. My apologies. Our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Or is it down below now? It's down below the subscription button. Give us a wee subscribe. We interact with our fans. We do talk to our fans quite a lot. So give us a wee subscribe. Push the subscribe button and give us a wee like.
Provide me with money and I might talk to you.
So he thinks. We're going to go to our first commercial break. As I say, we've only got certain time here today, because we'll have to play a track for the radio station. We'll have to go to commercial break on YouTube and on Daily Motion.
Yeah.
Again, hello Dailymotion. So we have to, squeeze everything into this show tonight because we have a lot to talk about, especially last night's pay-per-view. So overall, quickly before we go to a break, Raw out of 5 stars.
3.
I think 3 as well because of the whole Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho match. I thought it was a great match, which is good to see. But we're going to go to a commercial break here on YouTube and on Dailymotion, and we're going to go to a track here on Bangor Community Radio, and we'll be back again in a couple of minutes' time on Bangor Community Radio, and also a few moments' time on the world of YouTube and Dailymotion. So we're back in a few moments for more Outside the Ropes with myself, Matthew Muir, and my co-host, partner in crime,
host with the most, myself.
Thinks he knows it all, Mr. Tommy.
He knows it all.
Sorry, thanks, Mr. Tommy McNulty. We'll see you in a few moments' time. Hi folks, welcome back to part 2 of Outside the Ropes on February 18th, 2013 with myself, Matthew Muir, and my co-host, Mr. Tommy McNulty.
Co-host garbage here.
Absolutely. Right, we'll try to squeeze everything into the first segment there for Raw. If we didn't get everything in, we do apologise because we're running 10 on time tonight because we've got a lot to get through. Moving on quickly to TNA. Did you catch TNA this week?
Yes, I did.
You did? Hey!
I caught it last week too.
You caught TNA this week?
I caught it last week too.
I only saw... To be honest with you guys, I've been away working all week, so I really haven't had much of a chance to see TNA. I saw bits and pieces, but since you've watched it,
there's only 3 parts I can really talk about. See, there was a great match between Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, which is always good.
An old rivalry, which is fantastic. Yep.
It ended with Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe getting involved. 2 members of the Aces and Eights.
2 future great talents for the future, if they're booked properly, of course.
Obviously, we can't talk about this a lot. Just need to get through it. There was a match, 6-man tag, 6-person tag involving the members of the British Boot Camp. It was Party Marty Skrull and the Blossom Twins against Jesse Sorensen and Gail Kim and Tara.
Right.
Of course, Gail Kim, Tara, and Jesse Sorensen won that match.
Of course.
There was a main event, which I believe...
I didn't watch the show, I apologise. Well, I saw bits and pieces, I do apologise. Sorry. As he... Yeah,
there was a great match between Bobby Roode and Austin Aries as well.
Right.
That ended with...
Sorry. I'm only kidding. I did see the part of that match, though. I did see the part of that match.
Aces and Eights ended up getting involved towards the end of that. And Hulk Hogan came out.
Yeah, I saw the last segment now with Hulk Hogan at the end. I saw that.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan, Sting, and Bully Ray eventually came out because Hogan was inside the ring doing a promo. Aces and Eights came out and surrounded the ring. Out came Bully Ray with a chain, followed by Sting, came out with 3 bats, and they basically stared down Aces and Eights to end the show.
Okay, so it wasn't overall show, was it an okay show, or? Out of 5 stars?
Probably 2.
2?
Yeah.
So, again, folks, I do apologise. I only saw segments of TNA this week.
And just a reminder, TNA Lockdown's coming up soon as well.
That's correct, yep. TNA Lockdown. One of my favourite TNA pay-per-views that I never miss every year, which is... One match from Lockdown really stands out for me was the Kurt Angle, Mr. Anderson match from a few years back. And they also had the match where there was a whole... Was it the TNA match where they had like 6 guys in the match, and then Jeff Hardy done the dive off the ladder at the top of the cage. And then there's been so many matches that have stood out, in Lockdown history, but I love Lockdown. I mean, the recent tour as well, they've done like a Lockdown style tour where they had a cage match in every match every night.
We try to watch TNA Today, but, TNA Today isn't actually the name of a show on it.
It's Impact Wrestling.
But we do try to watch TNA, and just our opinion is our own. It was a lot better a few years ago. Yeah. Before the WWE people started coming in, except for Kurt Angle, of course. When Kurt Angle came in, it was still okay. But now that it's like...
I do apologise. I mean, again, we because of our other parts we do elsewhere. I mean, I work elsewhere for the radio station.
Pretty busy.
I do an RTV channel elsewhere. We are quite busy, but we manage to catch TNA when we can. And for people who are watching this and give us criticism saying, "Oh, we don't talk about TNA," we do know a lot about TNA, but we don't really get a chance to watch it as much.
The history of it rather than today.
Well, I watch it whenever I can, so I do apologise. I know it's a wrestling show and we're here to talk about TNA. We do apologise. So.
And just to give a shout out to Ring of Honor, their 11th anniversary show is coming up in March.
Another thing as well I wanted to mention today, which I forgot to say to the producer and I forgot to say to yourself before we started the show today. This past week, in the world news that apparently wrestling has now been taken away from the Olympics. It's not being classed as an Olympic sport anymore.
True.
So a lot of wrestlers have been touting about it this last week, especially
Kurt Angle. Yeah.
We want to hear your thoughts on it. I mean, a lot of you may not watch the old sort of traditional Olympian style wrestling, which I do watch, by the way. We want to hear what you think about that. Should the Olympics be taken away from, should wrestling be taken away from the Olympics? Give us a tweet on Outside the Rope or on our Facebook page. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's one of the Roman what's the term they use for it? Roman style wrestling from like the old Colosseum days and stuff like that. They're taking it all away, from the Olympics, and I think I'm disgusted with it. So we want to hear what you think about it. I know it's not what they call the sports entertainment. What we're talking about now.
It's professional wrestling. It's amateur wrestling.
It's amateur wrestling, but being a fan of it, it's kind of insulting, really. That's where Kurt Angle started. Like Randy Orton, Jack Swagger, they all done it. Brock Lesnar, they all done it at their schools and gone through college and things like that. Now it's been taken away from the Olympics, so it's kind of a upsetting subject for me. But I just thought I'd get that in quickly because we're finishing up about TNA there. Tweets. We're going to go on to our tweets. Now, we've had a good few followers this week.
True, and a good few likes on Facebook.
Absolutely. Well. Facebook, we're currently at this day on Monday at, as he thinks it's a Rolex, but it's not. I'm looking at my watch. We currently are sitting at how many likes?
180.
Well, I think it's 182 now.
Is it?
182, yeah. We're nearly at that 200 mark, so give us a like.
Get us up there.
Definitely.
Share us on your pages.
I want to give a couple of shout outs to, well, first of all, a person who worked briefly with us in the business who took his time, should we say, to like the page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Wrestling, Mr. Sting fan, Mr. Sammy Lennon. Hi, Sammy. Took you long enough to like the page. Shameful.
Shame.
Definitely. We're not overly happy with you, Sammy. Just kidding. Our friend Mike Rogers has been hammering us this week again on Twitter. So, Mike, hello. There's a lot of stuff here he's been talking about this week, which I don't really want to sort of spend half a day talking about. Yes, sorry, correction. On behalf of Bangor Community Radio, we'd like to apologise to listeners from last week who tried to listen in last Monday night and all they could hear was static. There was technical issues with the station.
Beyond our control.
Yep, beyond our control. And it was broadcast last Tuesday night, a pre-recorded of this last week's show. Okay. So we do apologise, but we're on the air tonight, as you can probably will hear us now, so we do apologise. Quick shout out to a couple of people who have followed us this week, which I'm trying to get these up here. Yes, sorry, correction. Robbie Render, last week's episode, Tommy said Daffy Duck, but quoted Sylvester the Cat. Do you want to address that?
Mistakes happen, it's live, what can I say? I always thought it was Daffy Duck that said that.
No problem. Well, there you are, Robbie. Want to shout out the Dirt Sheet, Nicky McFay, Tom Lloyd, and I can't even pronounce that last name, but do apologise. What's our thoughts on the only being one chamber match this year? From
Go figure,
Johnny
I thought
Biggs.
it was going to be two. I assumed that the 6-man tag was going to be in the Elimination Chamber.
I thought it was an absolute disgrace. Quick shout out again to Lisanne O'Neill and Ben Fenton. Hi guys, how are you? Stay off Wikipedia, tell me about Bruno from Johnny French.
I read Bruno's book.
There you go. Yes, sorry, we're running out of time here before we go into our commercial. There was a bit of an argument, a heated discussion last week with people on Twitter we were being brought into. Do you want to address that?
Involving Johnny French, wasn't it?
I think so. He apparently said he had too much alcohol. I woke up and saw all these tweets, and he did say some nice things about it, though, saying we knew our stuff, so thank you very much for that wee tweet. And I will see standing up for Outside the Ropes. A couple more shout-outs to Dave Lawson, Chloe, Andy Watson, Rachel Law, and I think that's Shannon. Yeah. So we shout out to you guys as well. We'll start reading some tweets here.
And a shout out to everyone that liked our Facebook page this week.
Definitely. I'm trying to find somebody here who haven't sort of read it before. We will. Where's that conversation I was telling you about? Team John Cena and Rafid Khan have followed us this week. Hi guys, how are you? Hope you're doing well, and thanks for tuning in to Outside the Ropes. Yes, Robbie, we were mentioning Robbie's character last week about his characters from wrestling. DJ, Marshall, and Mac, all three shout-outs in one episode. This is very clever of Mr. McNumpty. He still needs to cheer up though. Lord Tweet here saying, I personally stopped watching Raw and SmackDown since the dismissal of this year with the shows. Elimination Chamber would probably be an okay pay-per-view, but WrestleMania needs to be epic. Says pretty much the whole week rant here saying that it's pretty. You're funny. He says he hasn't been happy since the 80s and 90s. My opinions shared by others. Hashtag. Quick shout out to Dolph Vincent as well. Hi Dolph, how are you? Don't know why any reference to Dolph Ziggler. I don't know.
Could be a relation.
I'm just trying to find people here who've been following us. Richie O'Donovan and Beth. Hi guys, how are you? Mohammed, is it Nuno?
Nuno.
Lord Tree here. New follower Nick McVeigh. Hi Nick. Says, let's hope the lights go out during the Shields match and it comes the Undertaker. That was a bit interesting. So, and Teddy Tabio.
Speaking of Undertaker, looks like he's not going to return for WrestleMania this year.
We put a photograph on our Facebook about him last week when he appeared. But that's squeezed in there, and I will have to go to a commercial before we get our head pulled off. We'll be back in a few moments' time here for more Outside the Ropes, in a few moments' time on Bangor Community Radio, also here on YouTube and Daily Emotion. For myself, Matthew Moore, and my co-host, Mr. Tommy.
He wishes.